Rick, we understand that the Canes were interested in Elias Pettersson at some point. Did it get close, him going there, or JT Miller going to Carolina?
Miller was not close. Miller was not close to Carolina. I believe Carolina's goal was not to get Miller. It was Pettersson all along. They just love him. They love him. And there was phone calls, people saying, hey, Pettersson to the Hurricanes on Friday could have happened. It was close. And they just decided, and Martin Netjes would have been the centerpiece coming back to Vancouver. Hurricanes just picked Rantanen over Pettersson. Vancouver tried.
So they love Rantanen too.
Well, but he's a UFA.
Yeah.
It gives him flexibility if he doesn't re-sign there. That was a big reason. If it doesn't work out for Rantanen, gives him flexibility. In case it doesn't work. He's just a better player. Sorry, Don, but
you have to say sorry to me. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, Mika Rantanen is just way better than Pettersson, and they just went down that road. But yes, Vancouver and Carolina talked about Pettersson quite a bit, and Miller too. But I don't believe Miller was their number one target. I believe it was Pettersson, and they did get close.
So are we here now that and we hear the rumors of Buffalo being very interested in Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
Are we here now that it's more likely, if somebody's going to be moved by the Canucks, that it's more likely going to be Pettersson than Miller? Because a week ago, it was the other way around.
It was the other, but they're taking calls on both players. That's all we can say. It is sad to me that the Vancouver Canucks, 4 months into an 8-year deal, have their guy they just signed for $11.6 million per season. 4 months in, they've decided we're going to get rid of the guy. But the onus is also on him. If Elias Pettersson wants to get his name out of trade rumors, start playing better. You got 1 point in 6. I think you have him at 2 points in 8 and 1 goal. 1 point.
1 goal and 1 assist in 8 games.
And the 1 goal he had was against the 30th ranked Buffalo Sabres. Look, you want to get out of trade rumors? You want to stay in Vancouver? You told the Canucks you want to stay? Got to play better.
I guess the question is he capable of playing better? Is he capable at this point? I know what happened early in his career, but at this point, is he capable of putting up more points?
He's got to. Bottom line.
I get that, but I don't know if he's
capable. He's got to be a difference maker. He's not. Donnie, he's 5th in team scoring. He's on pace for 55 points. That's great if you're making $4 million a year. That's really good. But when you're making 11.6 in the Canadian market, you got the 11.6 wide, Don, because you put up a ton of points in your career. Now
they made a mistake.
Who made a mistake?
The Canucks.
You can't say that. They signed him. No,
you watch games right now. Okay. You look at his production, and you say to yourself,
right.
That was a good move.
At the time of the day they signed the deal,
not everybody
he
said
was
that.
Nowhere near dropping off like he's dropped off right now. Bottom line, they need a difference maker.
Rick, a lot of people said at the time that they made that deal last March that it was a big mistake.
Yeah, well, it's shocking to people around the league that 4 months into an 8-year deal and the Canucks are getting rid of this guy. Well, it's also, if you're the owner, do you want to pay 11.6 for 55 points? Probably not.
So how do you unload somebody like that and get, fair value in return? You can't.
You know why you can unload him, Don? You know why? You know why teams call? Because he's 26 years old and he's a top 6 center. That's why teams are going to bet.
You're contradicting yourself now.
Okay, hold it a second. Teams are calling because they think he's 26. He can still get back to the 100-point year. That if he was 29
you make it sound like he's 19 or 20. He's 26.
He's 26.
He's fairly well established in the NHL.
They're thinking his prime years are ahead of him, but right now he's got to play better. Bottom line.
Ray always makes the point. Ray Ferraro always makes the point. When it comes to that 100-point season with the Canucks, is that the outlier? Everybody goes. You go, top 6 center, 100-point center. That was once. And I know he got 89 points last year, but there was a drop-off after the All-Star break.
But you got to give him credit for 89 last year, Don. You're the 89.
How do you do in the playoffs?
Okay, 89 is 89. In the last 2 years before this year, he got close to 200 points. That's why teams are still calling. You don't want to know why Buffalo's still calling?
You said Carolina's in love with him.
Carolina likes him a lot. Remember they tried to get him last year at the trade deadline. They just, again, 26.
Bet you they'd like to have that one back.
Well,
the Canucks.
They signed him. And you know what? Canucks have no one to blame. If they're whining about his 8-year deal, well, nobody put a gun to your head to do it. You did it on your own.
The interviews recently with Patrick Alvin talking about, and I'm paraphrasing here, about how he has star potential. Potential? Like
At
if you're
11-6.
signing a guy for 11-6 and he's got star potential,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sorry, he's supposed to be. Forget star, he's supposed to be a superstar. And look, I don't blame him at all.
No.
For 1 second, again, I
Johnny.
don't. As you mentioned, $4 million. If he was making that much or $6 million, I'm dreaming here. You know, if you're a Canuck fan, dreaming completely. But it's just it just doesn't make any sense at all. And then talking about his preparation, I think it's obvious they have a problem with what happened in the offseason with him.
Yeah.
Like, does he seem stronger?
No. But he posts pictures on what's that other thing called? Not Twitter.
TikTok, Instagram.
No, Instagram. He posts when he had Instagram. He would post pictures working out. He looks in great shape, Don. I don't know.
Well, then what about the preparation comments?
Yeah, preparing is just is it before games? Is it during breaks between games? Like when the general manager says you got to prepare better, is that mentally or physically? I mean, there's so many things at play here, Don.
Yeah, and again, I'm not blaming him for 1 second. I just can't believe that he's the 5th highest paid player in the National Hockey League.
He's got production of a $5-6 million player right now, but he's getting 11-6, and that's why I think the management's probably saying they've seen enough.
Okay, what about the Buffalo rumors?
Yeah, they've been after
Pettersson?
early this year. Remember when he started slow? One of the first teams to call was Buffalo. They like him obviously a lot, Don, and we know the Canucks like Bowen Byram. Who's he? Cousins?
Dylan Cousins.
Yeah,
Alex Tuck.
Donnie, I'd get the Benson kid out of Chilliwack if I was Vancouver. But but they also Canucks also need a centerman back. And now they need a defenseman back. You hear if you're giving up a top 6 center, you better get a center back, or because then there's going to be a massive hole. And if you get rid of Pettersson, how about if Miller says down the road, I want out too? What happens then?
What about that? What about the possibility of the Canucks unloading both?
Oh, yeah.
Both Miller and Pettersson.
Yeah.
And probably not together.
No.
I'm being sarcastic there. But what about that? Have you heard anything about that?
Well, sure. Everything's on the table. Everything. You're hearing a lot of Canucks names now. But we heard Demko's name on the weekend. Besser's name, teams probably calling on Besser. I mean, boy, Donnie, last year this time, think about where we were.
You had to add pieces, right?
Top
That's what they were
5
doing.
team. They were getting Lindholm. They were getting Zadorov. They were trying to get Gensel. And now look at they're unloading all these guys.
Yeah, well, like you said, they get Lindholm, they get Zadorov,
and they went after Gensel.
And that's what's so frustrating for long-time Vancouver hockey fans is that this has happened so quickly.
Absolutely.
After so much promise, so much potential. Is that it's happened so quickly? Can they get something decent in return for their highest-paid player, or in the case of JT Miller, one of their highest-paid players?
Right. I just people around the league still just can't believe that 2 top 6 centers are available, Donnie. I mean, when's the last team that had 2 top 6 centers available? I don't think you can remember the last time. I don't remember a scenario like this, well, especially in Vancouver ever.